I think consultants can be very valuable. And, when you talk to people if you talk to people kind of in the self-employed freelance world, whatever, you'll probably find like quite a few consultants out there. It's kind of interesting how many there are. But I think there's a good reason for consultants, which is, you know, sometimes you need specific information to solve a problem. And one of the things that consultants I think can help with is knowing what the next thing is to fix. So, as a business owner, you may look at at your business and see, a dozen things that are broken and be like, wow, we have so much to do in our company. And if you're not, uh, and it may be tough to know, which of those things to do next. And reality is really that as a whole, I mean, there's some extent to which you can do multiple projects at once, but especially if you're on a smaller scale, and even I think at larger companies, you really kind of want to tackle one thing at once. Um, I think probably on the whole, it's better to tackle one thing at once, knock it out quickly, and get to the next thing than it is to try to do half a dozen things at once because simplicity just wins most of the time. And so, reduce complexity, increase simplicity. I mean, that's like basically, probably should be my mantra. Partly because I tend to sometimes make things more complex than they need to be. So where a consultant can come in pretty handy is telling you, what the next thing is that you should work on. Because if you think about it, if let's just assume that the most effective way to work is one thing at a time, one change at a time, one solution at a time, addressing one problem at a time. In that case, then all you need to know, you don't need to know how to solve 11 of the 12 problems. All you need to know is how to solve the next problem. And then the problem after that, and the problem after that. So, but at any given time, for your business, even for your life potentially, but for your business, all you need to know is how to solve the next problem. So, now let's take this into the realm of marketing. So let's say you're like, okay, I need to do better at my lead generation, right? And so you may think, well, lead generation. Okay, well, what all's involved in lead generation? So you do a quick little search on ChatGPT, and you're like, what are all the components of a winning lead generation campaign? And then it's like, okay, it's like campaign type, and it's, creative, and it's messaging, which is, I mean, that's sort of synonymous with creative, but it maybe precedes creative. Um, there is budget. There is, you know, conversion type and strategy, which I guess basically would be the campaign type, but not necessarily. There could be a distinction there between the two. Um, and then there's the technical side of platforms and landing pages and which type of media to buy and targeting. So, you could ChatGPT or Google potentially will spit out potentially 12 things going into successful lead generation. And how do you know what to do next, right? Now, suppose you call in someone like me, a marketing consultant for your company. So I come in, I review what you currently have in your current lead generation setup if you have something going, and I can spot maybe, let's say, 5 problems. So 5 out of the 12, maybe I see there's an issue or a change that should be made. Well, the thing is, we don't have to change all 5 at once. Now, we can potentially, depending on something like as confined as lead generation, we could probably change multiple things pretty quickly. But really, in terms of working with your company, potentially I would say, look, um, the issue that you have here, first of all, is that you're not casting a wide net with your basic brand premise. Okay? And there's two reasons for that. One is your campaign structure at the top of your funnel. And number two, and this is the most important probably, is you don't have a great brand identity statement, or a brand impact statement, I should say. And so our very first step, so we can put all the other problems with your campaign, with your lead generation aside. And the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a brand impact statement. And then once we have that, we'll go on to the next issue. And so the mental energy for the business owner can be now focused. So instead of looking at 5 problems, he can be like, okay, we've got to get this brand identity statement or this brand impact statement figured out, and can you help me do that? So that's just one example of how, in theory, as sort of a general rule, all you need to do to move forward in life is to solve the next problem, or to make take the next step, basically. Assuming there again, the general idea being you just need to take one step at a time. And so the question is, what's that next step, and how do I solve it? That's really all you need to answer. So if life is feeling complex to you, if business is feeling complex, just remember that there's probably only one thing you really need to do right now. Find out what that thing is and do it.